Mr. Carter.
Hey, Sterling, you're looking rather sexy today, man. You got that little
Yeah,
extra
I'm bringing
button on
sexy
the button.
back. I'm bringing sexy
Look at sexy
back.
bag. Hey, man, don't let me report it. Don't let me report it.
Crystals, go
I
get
will
me. Go
snitch.
get me.
I know they say stitches get stitches, but I'll snitch, man. I am not above
Man, I
snitching.
know, man. Back in the day in high school, that was your middle name. You used to snitch all the time. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, Sterling, I think you got a big day coming up soon, man. Last time I checked, man, there's a big day coming up for you.
Hey, yours is coming up before mine because you were 6 minutes older. You came out the womb first.
That's
It was
right.
still warm in there. I was still hanging out.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I think I was like pushing you back, like I was
Yeah,
doing like the
exactly,
Heisman move,
exactly.
like as I was coming out, I was like, get back in there.
Exactly. Yeah. You've always been that protector. So you're trying to make sure the environment was safe before I came
That's
out.
right. That's right.
Yeah,
I had to
yeah,
check it out, make sure it was all good. All right, Sterling, come on out. We're good.
exactly.
Let's go.
You good now. You good.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. So what do you have planned for the weekend? What do you have planned for Memorial Day weekend, your birthday weekend? What are you gonna do?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. It's Memorial Day weekend. The blessing that you and I have is that our birthday always falls on Memorial
Holiday
Day
weekend.
weekend.
Yeah.
So, the whole nation is turning up for our birthday. It's an amazing thing.
So turn up.
But so normally I would have, something planned. In fact, it's funny, you know how like Facebook and some of these other places, they'll have the memories that pop up. So you know
Right.
what you were doing a couple
year
of years ago. And I think I was if it wasn't last year, it was the year before. We were like in Cabo, or actually it may have been even longer than that because this is before COVID, right? But it was a Cabo turn up that popped up of Daphne and I getting our turn up on.
Exactly.
So we're getting ready to do something like that, but just later on in the summer.
Exactly. Just a little bit of a delay on the turn up, as they say.
Exactly.
Good deal. So what are we talking about to say? Oh, we actually have a couple of comments before we get started with our subject matter of today, which should be fun. But we got Mr. Sean is in the building, our firefighter superhero. So we thank you for your service. Hey, Sean, how are you? He says, hello, my brothers. Happy early birthday. Thanks, Sean. We appreciate that.
It's certainly Sean military, because of course it's Memorial Day, so we got to thank everybody for that.
I think he's prime military. He's a firefighter for sure, but I think he's prime military
too.
So
anyway,
thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Absolutely, sure. Yeah. We got Tony in the house, and Tony's prior service as well. So Tony, thank you for your service
and police officer as well, first responders. So what's up with Tony?
Exactly. Well, good deal, man. We got a great topic today. I think it's spot on with all the craziness that we have seen, lately. Mm-hmm. I think they're saying that the mass shootings that have been going on this year is just at record numbers. So it's like every year it gets worse and worse. It's not getting any better. So, we thought, why not talk about how to stop it, how to stop mass shootings. And we've got 6 easy steps, right? 6 steps that if you follow the steps, if you listen to what the Carter brothers have to say, we could just fix this. We could fix this issue right here, right now. Just, we have the solution. Somebody needs to put us on CNN or something like that so we can talk about the solution. But
so I don't know how easy they are, but they definitely would help. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah.
It's been such a tragedy, man. It's such a tragedy. Obviously, just recently in our state of Texas, we had a mass shooting right outside of the San Antonio area, and Sterling and I have traveled through that area quite a bit. I know where Uvalde is, if I'm saying that correctly. And then obviously in Buffalo, we just had a mass shooting that was racially motivated, unfortunately. And those are just the top 2 over a string of things that have been happening, in this country, man, for many years. And just the bottom line is that it's got to stop.
It's got to stop.
This is not political. It's not, this is not meant to be divisive. This is just people loving people to say, you know what, we got to do something. Like something.
Yeah. And it's getting to a point where it's just common. It's just every day, and people are starting to get I don't know what the word is. Comfortable, acclimated, and it's just another day, another shooting. So it's really unfortunate. So yeah, so we have 6 key steps, and we want you guys, please chime in on
Please.
this important topic. Share your experiences. Tell us about what you think in regards to what we can do to stop mass shootings. It's definitely not just all about guns, but we think that that's a portion of it. But
Right.
we want to hear your thoughts. So we'll jump right into it. So Stephen, step number one, solution number one.
Absolutely. And so, and definitely want to hear from our police and military guys, Tony and Sean, and all you guys. Make sure you chime in on a lot of these things. As everyone knows, Sterling and I are prior military. So we have a perspective that may be a little, a little different, but we'll share. So
Yeah, the best perspective because we're prior military. You're like,
that's right. That's right. We know what we're doing.
really? Yeah.
So the big thing we talked about, Sterling, was like just simply control access to guns. And we had a number of things that we thought about when we were talking about just controlling access to guns. One of the things that I really feel passionate about is that there should be a minimum of a 30-day delay on purchasing certain types of weapons. Maybe it's all weapons, but you definitely should not be able to go in to Academy today and buy an AR-15 and be able to walk out of Academy with an AR-15. A lot of the killings seem to be emotional and something that they're going to get a gun to go do something either that same day or in the next couple of days. So having a delay on being able to receive or acquire that firearm would be something that I think would be helpful. Sterling, what else do you think?
Yeah, no, just to spot on that with that comment. I mean, just a delay in anything, right? So you learn the same thing when you're married or you're having an argument or whatever, and they tell you just wait a minute, just take a time out, just pause for a moment, and then when you come back to the situation, you're gonna you're gonna be able to handle it a little bit better. So I love the idea of a 30-day delay and allow those emotions to go down a little bit. So. Yeah, and the next one we talked about is 21. I don't know what we have here on 21 to buy. I can't remember.
So just that was more of the age limit, increasing the age limit on being able to buy a weapon.
Yeah,
whether or not it's 21 to 25 or whatever. But yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, what Steve and I were talking about earlier is the fact that, of course, the young kid and Uvalde was only 18 years old and was able to go and buy 2 assault rifles and 300 plus rounds of ammunition. And as we know, those with parents and those that are on the psychological side of things, you understand that children, even at 18, 19, 20, their brains are not even completely mature yet. They can't handle, complex type situations, but yet we're giving them weapons that they can actually kill somebody with. So we really support just a delay in the time or the age before you can actually purchase a gun.
Exactly.
Stephen, the next.
Yeah, so the next one we talked about was that. So the gentleman, for those who follow the story of the Uvalde shooting, this guy went out, 18 years old. I think it was three days before the shooting, or 3 or 4 days before the shooting. He purchased $3,500 worth of weaponry, ammo, the vest, the bulletproof vest, all of that, right? So, and he purchased 375 rounds, if I remember the number correctly, somewhere around that number of ammo. Anyone that's purchasing that amount of ammo, it just, to me, should raise some type of red flag. And we really probably should have some type of maximum amount of ammo that can be purchased over a certain period of time. That means that will require that obviously a database to track any type of ammo that's purchased. But I know people are trying to stockpile ammo, but there's also a red flag to come into place of why is somebody buying that amount of ammo?
Good point. And the last one is requiring a mental health assessment. Right now, we're dealing with almost a pandemic of sorts in regards to mental health. Yeah. There are so many people out there that are in need of, that have mental health issues and that have needs, and we're not addressing it enough, and we're not diagnosing it quick enough. So we think that if you have a mental health assessment of some sort that's required before you purchase a gun, it's going to be huge, because you can do a criminal background, but if someone hasn't had had done any crime, but yet they had mental health issues. What are we doing about that?
Exactly.
How are we controlling those? So we need to make sure that these people that are buying guns are actually mentally stable enough to do so.
Let's go.
We got a bunch of comments here, so we should jump right into that. You know, so Mr. Sean says that no, he's not military. He's been fighting fires for 32 years. So thank you for that. Thank you for that.
So his life on the line for 32 years.
Exactly. You still served. You still served.
Absolutely.
Marcus says happy early birthday. We appreciate it. Great to see you as well, sir. Krishna says, happy birthday, Gemini twins. Yes, it's Gemini season.
Gemini season.
It's kind of fitting that we're twins and we're Gemini. So,
yin and yang and all that kind of
good stuff.
We don't have, so if we had multiple personalities still, there would be 4 of them, right? So that's what we're basically saying.
It would be. Correction, no military on my resume, but I do appreciate your services to our country. Thank you, Tony. We appreciate that, but we know you served in a lot of other different ways, so we appreciate what you do. Okay. And Gigi says, all those babies. I know, so sad that we lost so many young kids. I mean,
4 years old, 5 years old.
Exactly. I mean, who does that? An 18-year-old kid goes in. I think the latest they're saying that he felt like he was being bullied at the school, but yet you go and you take out these young innocent kids that have nothing to do with anything. It's such a cowardly just action. So
exactly.
They're rolling in now. Okay, so Marcus says, what are your thoughts on adding a mental health curriculum for early ages so that these incidents can be mitigated? Yeah, mental health curriculum is really, really, really a good point. We were talking about even the parenting side, like what responsibility does the parents have in the situation? If you see your child and you think that there's something not right, what are you doing? Are you actually making sure that you're addressing those mental health concerns with your kids? You know, how much responsibility is it for the parents to kind of figure out what's going on and do something about it?
Yeah, there's definitely, and we can spend a lot of time on
that.
We got that as a 6 point, so we'll wait on that.
Kristen says that's the one. And we got a bunch here, so I'll just read a couple more and then we'll get back. Chris says, I'm not sure if you guys know on prior service. Well, it's kind of hard not to know your prior service.
Chris, you're in your
fatigues.
Represent. Happy Memorial Day, and thank you for your service for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your service and work as a peer support at our Houston VA. Yes, Kristen, I remember you at the VA. So thank you for everything that you do for our veterans and for serving. There's so many who do not need to carry, but they are. Yes, seems to be a popular trend right now for everyone to go get guns, and they have no idea what the ramifications are of those things.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's jump back into it because we get a lot of fun comments. We got to keep the show going. So number 2. Oh, this is a big one. You know, all those Call of Duty game players and what are other popular games out, Stephen, that everyone's playing?
I don't know the name of them. All I know is that whenever you can put yourself inside it, and this is not even a mention now that we're going into the metaverse and virtual reality and all of that, right. But just even the fact that you can hold a game stick and you feel like you're in a game because you're killing multiple zombies, people, whatever the case may be. You can't tell me that does not mess with the psyche of a young person who doesn't understand that killing something on a game is not the same as killing something in reality. I don't, there was a comment that was made though. So to be on the opposite side of this is that they have these violent games in other countries as well, but other countries aren't seeing the level of mass shootings that we're seeing. But you still can't get across the fact that this violent gaming doesn't have something to do with this. Right, Sterling?
Man, I agree with you 100%. When I can go on a game and I can kill, I mean, at age 4, probably, I think, or maybe it's age 6 when it's legal for you to start playing these games. From 6 to 18, I'm playing games every day where I'm killing people, individuals, zombies. And I'm literally, I have it on sniper mode, and I've got my AK-47, my whatever, and I'm shooting people on a regular basis. It makes you numb to
Exactly.
it. I mean, it's a count. Like you're sitting here, the game in the game is shoot and kill as many people as you can, and that's exactly what's happening in mass shootings. They're getting dressed up just like they're in the game. In the game, they got the battle rattle on, helmet on, they've got their AK-47, their M16s, and they're going to war. They think they're in a game, and so we have to recognize that gaming is a little bit different from the movies. It's different from music. It is a game where you're actually in this game doing exactly what people are doing in mass shootings. So it's got to stop.
It's got to stop.
It's got to be controlled.
Absolutely.
So next one. What do you think, Steven? Should we ban them?
I mean, so man, this is so freaking simple, and I mean, why it's not so? It's so easy, right?
Yeah.
So let me be the first one to say. So, Cyril, you and I know. I mean, we're both armed. I have an AR and AK in my gun cabinet at home. I picked it up during the COVID kind of season, just because of fears of all the things that were happening. I wanted to be able to protect my home. And I'm obviously not going out to do any mass murder with it, but do you need an AK or an AR for hunting? Do you need that to protect your home? Sterling and I are both military. An AR and an AK are not for hunting. They are for mass casualties. They are for killing the enemy. And when you talk about the size of the bullet, one of the things that they're not talking about in the media, they're not showing these pictures, but an AR and an AK, either one, normally have bullets that are size of 5.56 milliliters. These are large bullets that if they hit a child that's the age of 4, you're obliterating them. That's why some of these kids couldn't be discovered. They couldn't identify them because they had to have DNA to identify them, because those size bullets, they're destroying a target. And so there's got to be some kind of ban. So, sir, I'm sorry I'm rambling, but
no, you're spot on. You're speaking facts. No, you're, and I agree with you 100%. I mean, I think we have to ban assault rifles, and we want to know from you guys, how many people out there, one, if you have an assault rifle, we want to know about it, and two, what are your thoughts? Should we ban them? You know, what do you think? And we're going to get back to comments because we have a bunch of them, because everyone is hot and heavy about this topic, as they should be. So let's see here. Tony says, and I may have missed some guys, so if I did, I'm sorry. I'll go back. There's so many. It was 3,750 rounds.
Thank you. For some reason, I thought it was more than that, but thank you.
But you were just off by a zero because you said 370. That's crazy.
That's insane. I mean, somebody buys that amount of rounds and that's not a red flag. That's just stupid.
Man, it's got to be a red flag, you know? I'm going back here a little bit. Okay, we got that one. So Mina is in the house. What's going on, lady? Why are murderers in Chicago considered thugs, yet mass shooters are often considered mentally ill? See?
Well, okay. So I tend to disagree on this just a little bit. So murders in Chicago, this is a gang-related situation where they're doing something intentional against someone that they consider an enemy, and they're firing back and forth at each other, and this is just a way of life for them. As different from a mass shooter that's coming in and killing innocent people, multiple innocent people, kids at that. There's something clearly, there's a difference. There's a way of life that you've grown up in this kind of, very, very violent, protect yourself kind of situation in the hood, if you will. But then this is something different. There's some mental health issues.
It's definitely something different when you have no beef, no ill, you don't even know these individuals, and you decide you just want to go out and just kill random people. Yeah. It's not a good situation. Thanks, Mina, for sharing. And then Miss Abby says, any distinction in your minds for assault weapons and other firearms? Yeah, no, Stephen, you said this so eloquently well. But when you're talking about AR-15, AK-47, M16, those are used for more distance. In the military, we know this. A handgun is used for more short distances. Really, if you're trying to protect your home, really all you need is a handgun. You don't necessarily need a long distance rifle because you can't even. It's not even meant for that. If you need something you can get out, aim, and shoot quickly because someone's within 25, 15. 5 feet of you, that's when you want to use a handgun. If I'm trying to take out somebody down the street, then I'm pulling out an M16, an AK-47, an AR. There is no reason to have those type of weapons for hunting. You don't hunt with those. You don't you don't necessarily protect your home with that. The only reason you're using that for is to take people out at a distance, and it's used in the military because that's the purpose. We're supposed to protect, serve, and kill anybody that's coming within 100 meters, 150 meters. So there's definitely a difference between assault and other weapons. And I don't think Stephen and I are saying that you shouldn't have weapons, but I don't think that there's a reason necessarily for you to have assault weapons unless we're going into, unless World War III is about to happen and
exactly
protect ourselves. And
Sterling, that made me think of one other thing I was going to mention. So there's this argument about, so what they have said is that you can't have an automatic weapon. You can have a semi-automatic weapon, and that's why the ARs or AKs are okay. But let me tell you something, man. Sterling and I are military trained. There's a lot of people that are on this trail right now that are military trained. The only difference between a semi-automatic and an automatic is that automatic, you hold the trigger down and it just fires. But if you are any kind of shooter, semi-automatic, I can still pull that trigger multiple times.
Exactly.
And I'm still going to let go of 50 to 60 rounds in a minute. Easy. And so semi-automatic versus automatic, it doesn't matter. You still are using that thing for mass killing. And if you have an extended clip, you can go all day.
Man, you're on it. Okay, we're going to shove around. All right, Krishna is in the house. Sean says, unfortunately, most people deny that they have an issue and they try to get those folks help, but they won't take it. That's a really good point. Mental health is one of those things that's really hard to diagnose unless someone is willing to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
What responsibilities does social media hold and being able to monitor keyword indicators on posts?
Yes.
That's I mean, Tony, you're spot on with that. Every time they go back and they look at a mass shooter and they look through his social media, all the evidence is right there. They're basically telling you what they're about to do. In their circle already knows what's about to happen.
Exactly.
And because they've actually written it down. So I agree with you, Tony. If we had someone, I don't want to say Big Brother, but whatever, Facebook is monitoring for certain words, it could be helpful. It could be helpful. All right. So Sean says we need to address mental health lockdown. I'm gonna skip around and get to some people that haven't said a lot. What's going on, Miss Melissa Slade, our Kappa sweetheart from Langston?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Langston.
Yeah. The solution is to kill these murderers on sight. Yes, that's a whole other ball game because it's amazing how a lot of times the mass shooters end up going to jail without a scratch.
Mm-hmm.
But other people end up, get killed. We won't even go there today. It's so many good things here. Okay, so Mina says happy birthday. I'm gonna skip around, try to get to some people we haven't seen a comment from. Thanks everyone for all the great comments. Vern says I agree that that if you want to stop or slow mass shootings, ban assault weapons. There's no need to have any weapons such as these should be limited to military use. The government needs to stack up and reinstate the assault weapons ban.
Yep.
Point well taken. One more, and we'll jump back into our post. As a Chicagoan, I didn't know that was a word. That's cool. I like that, Chicagoan. Kevin says most of those killing each other have some form of traumas, mental illness, no self-worth. They also need help. Most of these crimes aren't related to gangs. It's survival mode. That's true.
That's true. That's facts.
And you were kind of talking about that, Stephen. It is a difference.
Yep.
So. Man, good stuff. So we will jump back. There's so many great comments, but we'll jump back over.
Let's get into it. Let's keep it going.
We got about 3 more steps to go. And mandatory metal detectors and limited entries in schools. So we have a good friend of ours who is whatever. I can't even say a friend. I have to say a brother, right? He
Absolutely.
is
Secret Service.
Secret Service. I was like, can I say that? Because it's secret. The retired Secret Service agent and a good brother of ours. If you don't know Mac Bostic, he's one of the Bostics, and we all go way back. But he's been a big proponent of this for a long time. What he says is that schools are not prepared for mass shootings. When you have that typical just security guard sitting up there at the front, it looks good to have a security guard up there at the front, but does he really know what to do in a situation when you have someone coming up with, full gear, AK-47s? What are we doing in order to prepare these schools and secure these schools so that they're ready for this common thing that's happening all the time? So one of the things that we got to do, of course, is pretty straightforward. Let's put some metal detectors up in the front. Let's limit the access and have one entrance that you can go into. Now we need to be safe so everyone can exit out of the other entrances, but it should be a one-way in situation so you can control the environment. And one of the things that Mac talks about and what he does is he trains schools, districts on how to properly secure their environment and what the security guards should do in a mass casualty situation. So there's definitely training behind that, and we think that everyone should, all schools should have that similar type of training, right, Stephen?
Agreed. Yeah, 100%. And it's always a little tough because obviously we don't want our kids to feel like they're in prison, right?
Right.
Because I've seen on social media people recommending that we put gates and fences around the entire school and encapsulate the schools so that you can't get in or out without going through a security gate. And certainly there are a number of schools that have that in place. But there is that argument to say whether or not you want your kids to feel like they're in prison. So there's definitely a balance, but I think what we're suggesting here is a good one.
Good deal. Great point. A couple more comments here just to get back. It's talking about the part about, it's not really mentioned, just a thought. But yeah. And then Mia says, or Kevin says, exactly. And then Iris says, hey, our cousin Iris is in the building. She says, how can adults intervene with young people who may exhibit potential behaviors? Yeah, when you're talking about mental health issues, I really think we need to have a professional involved. And on the healthcare side, if we see someone that has mental health issues, that's suicidal, that says those certain buzzwords like Tony was talking about earlier, you got to make phone calls because it's kind of above our pay grade per se, but you need to make sure you're getting a counselor in place, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, and you're getting this person the right type of help. But the hard thing is that person has to be open to getting the help. So it's a tough situation. What do you think?
It is. And there, we've even talked about this internally at our job. It's so prevalent now, mental health being an issue. We want to make sure even our employees have access to mental health services that they need. And there's so many non-for-profit and free organizations that provide these kind of services to people that need them. But what we have to do as a people, especially African Americans, is that we tend to deal with mental health in a way of just saying, hey, just go to church. We're going to pray over them. It's going to be okay. And I think what we have to learn, and hopefully we have learned at this day and age, is that any sign of mental illness is something that you should take seriously, and that it's not just something that the pastor can pray over. It's not just something.
That's true.
You talk to any psychiatrist, psychologist, and they'll tell you that being involved in solving a mental health issue is much greater than. And nothing to take away from our preachers and pastors. I go to church and love the Lord like everyone else, but I think that there's a reason that these folks have a doctorate in what they do.
You're absolutely right, Stephen. If you are bipolar or if you're schizophrenic or something like that, it's a real disease that requires medication,
right?
To be able to control those things. And so, we have to be open to taking care of those mental health issues. They're real. Kristen says, will all school districts have access to that kind of funding? Probably not. This is the ideal world. You bring up a good point.
Yeah,
this is our solution without a budget. This is what, no budget, no limits to the budget, all that kind of good stuff. Tony says, unfortunately, decision has to be made regarding funding,
Yeah.
security enhancements, costs, and that cost is pitted against cost for education for our children. True, but at some point in time, I mean, we're not gonna feel comfortable sending our kids to school unless they're safe.
Yeah.
So I don't know how we get, how we free that all out. LinkedIn user, tough topic. My heart hurts for those little schools or souls. I'm sorry. And James Bottomy is in the house.
Bottomy in the building.
Yeah. So he says, growing up in the Detroit public school system, we had limited entry points, metal detectors, and armed guards in our school. Hey, I agree with you, Bonnie. It looks like it's been done before. We just need to do more of it because it works,
Yeah.
So I love it. Thanks for that, James. And then Kevin says church and counseling go hand in hand, which is true.
Absolutely.
We got to, you got to believe in something bigger than yourselves in order to make sure that you kind of compartmentalize everything, because, there's some things that's just outside of your control and you just got to give it to that higher power, just give it to God. So good stuff. All right. So those are all the comments. We just got a couple, well, actually one left, because I think we talked about, or two left. So last two of the six. Steven, what do you think?
So we've
talked about this a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. So properly trained and equipped security. So I think definitely for our police officers on the line, I think they will tell you that and this is we know that this is the case because what happened in the Buffalo shooting, there was an armed security guard that was there. He tried to fire off. He tried to engage with the mass shooter, and unfortunately, he was gunned down. There is nothing that someone with a 9mm is going to do against an AK-47 or AR. It's just not going to happen. The firepower is too strong. The amount of bullets they can let off is too. It's like they mentioned, it's a long gun, so it's meant for long distance versus a 9mm that's meant for short distance. It's just not a fair fight. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. It's just not fair. So unless these security guards are properly equipped with the same type of weaponry that these mass shooters are bringing in, long guns, etc., bulletproof vests, military style equipment in every way, they're not going to be able to stop that kind of situation. And it's going to ultimately turn into waiting for the SWAT team to come, waiting for someone more equipped. And in the meantime, Uvalde, 91 minutes later, how many casualties are you going to see? So I think that the training, the type of security, maybe they need to be ex-special forces, ex-military, what have you. And maybe the number of security guards needs to increase as well.
Spot on, Steve. Yeah, we definitely need to make some changes in regards to training security. I think you were mentioning too that it would be great if someone was trained, the same way as someone in the military, because in the military, you're trained with how to use an M16 or an AK-47, AR-15. You're trained to deal with those type of scenarios. So, I think about the movie that Martin Lawrence was in when he was a security guard, and I don't know if you remember that movie from a long time ago, but he was like a rent-a-cop kind of situation and trying to be a security guard, and had very little training. And when he was put in a real situation, he didn't know what to do. And so it was a real big comedy about that. So if you guys know what movie I'm talking about, definitely chime in and put it in the chat. Last one. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier too. Like, no one wants to take accountability for what's going on and really start making some changes. So whose responsibility is it to make sure that these kids, because in a lot of situations, these mass shooters are really young kids, especially in schools, that they're making sure that they're taking care of the issues before they become a major, mass casualty kind of situation. So, Stephen, I think you mentioned that you think, that parents need to be held accountable. So tell us about that.
You know what? So this is going to sound a little insensitive, and I know I'm wrong. If your kid is crazy. you know if your kid is crazy and has something's not off, something's not right, and if they have the tendencies to go out and, we don't know how far it's going to go, but if you see some things going on, if you're noticing some of the signs, they're wearing all black, they're always in their room, They don't go out and, I mean, come on, guys. There's some signs that we should know that there's something going on. And if you're not actively involved in trying to help your kid out, to me, there should be a little bit of accountability. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if the parents should go to jail, but something needs to happen because you're ultimately responsible for raising this kid.
And I agree. And Stephen is always so colorful. And we know that crazy sometimes is considered a negative connotation in regards to mental health issues. As the medical professional here, I have to put in my little, this disclaimer. So if you're dealing with mental health issues, and we don't want you to think that there's something wrong necessarily. There's a lot of people that have mental health issues. But as parents, we can kind of see if our kids are not quite the same as maybe some others out there, and we need to do something about that. I mean, it's our responsibility when we're with these kids every single day and we know what's really going on.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I agree with you 100%.
But at a minimum though, Sterl, we got to make sure that if we do have guns in our home, they're not accessible. I think it's just so irresponsible for someone to keep a gun at the nightstand that's not locked down, that doesn't have everything can be fingerprinted. In terms of how to get to it, access it. Anyone that does a mass shooting with their parents' guns, I mean, that's another one that just, to me, right off the top, should be a accountability piece. We talked about social media as well as the role that they play in being accountable. This with the NRA and what's going on, I know it makes it tough, but to the extent that some of these gun manufacturers and gun retailers would start getting held responsible for some of these mass shootings, I guarantee you there would be a change in the way guns are sold and manufactured, and what types of guns are sold and manufactured. It just goes back to accountability. Period.
Great. Great. Well, and that is our last solution of the 6-step solutions. And we got a bunch of comments. So we get to the fun comments here before we close it out on this Memorial Day weekend. So let's see what we have here. I think thanks guys for the knowledge. And this is Barbara from, Barbara. Okay. These alias kind of names. It's hard to figure it out. Okay. So Barbara,
you know what that means, right? That means Barbara is doing some wild stuff on social media. She wants nobody to know her real identity. Right.
And/or it's her and her husband, and they have a shared account, so they got to make sure it's like Kevin Barbara, kind of thing. You can have your own account, Barbara. It's okay. Tell Kevin, he give you your own account. No, we stop. Thanks, Barbara, for being on. Cheeky is in. Okay, we're in trouble because one of our employees is actually noticed that we're not working right now. We're playing. We're
playing on social media.
Thanks, Cheeky. Venus says 17, and 18 years old is considered an adult.
Very true. Yeah. Very true.
Yeah. And Sean says not just properly trained, but those folks need to practice to point that muscle memory will take over. We are always trained. So we are always training. So when you add stressors, there is no what to do. I do now. It's we get it done. Yes, and parents have a huge role.
Absolutely.
Agree with you, Sean. Agree with you. Splinters in the windmills of their minds.
Oh, that's deep.
I like that. Great discussion needs to be continued throughout our community. I agree, Tony. We got to talk about this stuff. No one's talking about it.
Yeah.
Festus, what's going on, sir? All of my military folks are
absolutely in the building.
I appreciate it. I knew it. See, I called this to you. I was like, I said they share a page. That's what it is.
I said she's a real incognito. I don't know what's going on.
What'd you do, Barbara? Oh no.
Oh, so Sterl, we got two of our employees right now.
I'm really in trouble. Mindy, what's going on?
Hey, Mindy.
Hey, Mindy. Awesome. All right. So man, this has been a fun one. We went over a little bit on our time here, but it was a really important topic that we need to talk about, especially during these times. So, all right. Well, until next time, we try to do these on Thursdays, but this week we're a little bit late, but I guess it's okay since our birthday is tomorrow.
Exactly.
And it's a holiday weekend, all that kind of good stuff. So, Stephen, I'm sure I'll see you in like 30 seconds when we jump off, but have a happy birthday to everyone out there. Remember, that Memorial Day, the reason for Memorial Day. Remember those who gave their lives, put their lives, not just put it on the line, but gave their lives for our freedom. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate your service. And we just wish everyone a happy holiday weekend.
Yeah, be safe out there, please. Obviously we're talking about what's going on in the world is so crazy right now, but be safe and make sure you take advantage of the 3-day weekend and take a little break and enjoy.
Awesome. Yeah.
Catch y'all next week.
All right. Y'all take care. Let me do this outro. Peace.